Stuart, we're here in Forgemasters in Sheffield. This really is some installation. What is it?
So this is a 5-axis VTL that's been supplied by ourselves through our partners Bost machine tools. It's a 5-meter table VTL, full 5-axis simultaneous machine. It's 100 tons of capacity on the table. It's 4 meters turning height under the crossrail, 6 meter Y-axis, full hydrostatic machine, 48 kilowatt B-axis mill spindle.
48 kilowatts.
48 kilowatts on the B-axis. 148 kilowatt turning capacity. It's 274 kilowatt motors.
Like you say, this is a 5-axis machine. It's the largest 5-axis VTL I've come across. Is there many bigger?
There's not in the country. It's the largest full 5-axis simultaneous machine in the country.
So if we were to take the guarding off this machine, what would we see? How is this machine built?
The machines, the structural components are grey nodular cast iron. They're all double ribbed. There's no welded steel structures. It's full hydrostatic machine on oversized components. The ways themselves are 12 inches wide, 3 inches deep. It's more impressive when it's closed off, actually. If you can see the engineering underneath the covers, it's a big advantage for us.
I also note it's a fast machine. You would think, it's a big heavy machine, but it's a nimble machine as well, isn't it? How is it so quick?
So they've been pushing it, so they've been doing performance tests for the last few months, and they've been pushing it to its limits just now to try and understand what the real gains they can have in different machining strategies. Recently they've been machining at 5 meters per minute with high-speed cutters, and it's been performing really well. But opposed to that, they're also roughing 5 times faster than any other piece of equipment in the factory.
I know you've mentioned previously off camera, they actually purchased this machine to do a finishing cycle, but what they've quickly established is why not use it for roughing?
Yeah, I think that the gains are there to see. It was such a big investment for Forgemasters that they wanted to protect that investment by finishing. And yeah, it's a big machine, it's a powerful machine, it's a really rigid machine, and finishing's excellent. But the material removal rates that they're getting for roughing it's just not cost effective not to use that capacity.
And in terms of obviously we're stood here now that the project's complete. What is that process? Obviously you've taken an order, great, but where do we go from there?
Well, we have a second machine arriving in another machine shop here, a large boring machine. But on this machine, we see it as much as a partnership. My company is engaged with Forgemasters constantly. We want to be able to realise the full capacity of this machine. We are interested in all the productivity gains that Forgemasters can achieve out of the machine. And look, at the end of the day, we want them to perform well. We know the machine can perform well. It's a big step change for this customer. So, we see it as a long-term partnership. We're not going anywhere, and we're looking forward to the new machine arriving, and it's the same strategy then as well.
And if we took this machine away, we are stood on a huge hole, essentially, a huge pit. So somebody said 6,000 tonnes was removed.
Yeah, huge. The civil works was a massive undertaking. The footprint the area that we had to put the machine in was as big a challenge as anything. We were actually excavating the original foundations for the original crane beams going back, I think, 150, 200 years from the building. It was crazy.
And so what are the extra features on this machine? Obviously there's a lot of nice little features in the control.
So in the control, it's a Siemens 840 DSL control. We've put in some nice added features, Industry 4.0 if you like features, showing maintenance protocols in real time. So we're measuring temperatures from motors, from ball screws, all over the machine. We're monitoring vibration for all over the machine. We have in every single hydrostatic cell throughout the machine, we have an individual pressure switch for each cell, and we monitor these pressures constantly in real time. We also have 2 other screens that are networked up to their programming department, so they're running with Siemens NX camware, and it gives them the ability to not only drip feed the programs to the control, but they can also send the model to the control and interact with the model in a touchscreen way where they can see the part, they can section the part. So they're never having to leave the machine to then go and ask questions from the programming department. We can isolate that, we can highlight any questions and send a digital email to the programming department, which is at the other end of the base.
Sure. So this head, it's incredible, isn't it? We've actually just seen a tool change from the turning head to this 5-axis head. You know, how heavy is that?
So the head itself is about 800 kilos. It's a big head. It's being transmitted from the main drive spindle. We have a full 210 degrees movement on the head. It is accurate to 0.001 degrees.
And I like, that's a BT50 with a 60mm cutter in it. It may as well be a twiglet. It looks tiny.
Yeah, the scale does the tool no favours at all. It's huge.
So moving forward, you think you're going to put more machines into this facility? They certainly seem happy.
Yeah, I think that we need to realise the full potential of this machine first. Like I said before, it's a step change for Forgemasters, and you know, I think it's a big investment for this company. They're certainly trying to do things the right way. We are 100% certain that they'll see the gains in quick time, and we hope that more machines will follow.
It's a shame this component's on the machine. That just out of shot, unfortunately, some really impressive components we can't see on camera. But some of the complexity of the components they're putting in is incredible.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. It's unfortunate, but these are secret parts, and we're not allowed to see any of these parts. But knowing what they're doing and how they've come from a strategy doing it before, moving these parts around the whole machine, we can do these parts in 2 setups now. We're roughing through black forged material, taking it all the way down to finished size, 2 up, spinning the part round, finishing again inside. It's a big difference for them, and it's going to be a big success for them.
Well, the machine's got some really good inbuilt features. So it's got some capability to maintain itself as it goes along. So you're not losing accuracy with time in terms of maintenance, wear and tear. It's got functions for self-calibration and self-measurement. That means that the repeatability of the machining it is there and less of a worry than it otherwise would be.
In terms of cut time, is it more productive? Can you push feed rates?
You can push feed rates, and one of the great advantages is that it's got a driven head. So the cutting tools are quite complicated tools, and you want to use different parts of the cutting head for different types of machining. And that's actually usually something that's very difficult to control. But with a driven head, you can manipulate the cutting tool in order to get the best cutting efficiencies and the best surface finishes. And the latest investments in these machines, these Bost machines, is really exciting because these are right at the front of cutting technology.
What are the machines?
So we've got 2 machines which we've purchased. One's a VTL machine, so it's a vertical turning machine with milling capability, and a ram borer.
And what was the reason for the purchase? Is it purely down to capacity, lead times, maybe quality?
Well, capacity and quality. So increasingly, the parts that we manufacture are incredibly demanding in terms of the accuracies that they require. And the capability that we got before Bost was captured in several machines working in combination in order to be able to make the final part. One of the benefits of the new machine is all of that machining is done on one machine. So we if you like, we mitigate the risk of moving from machine to machine. We increase our confidence in the accuracy that we can achieve, and we increase efficiency.
And is it fair to say you haven't got many subcontractors, so what you make here you've got to complete?
That's right. We have got a very active supply chain. We wouldn't be able to do what we did without that supply chain. But the parts that we make necessitate a certain level of expertise which is solely within Forgemasters. And this machine is part of that Forgemasters capability. That's something specifically unique to us in terms of what we can offer. The reason that we chose Bost is because the machine is very heavily engineered. It's a really robust machine, and we can rely on it to produce the accuracies that we need for the components that we're making. And I think it's that kind of concentration on what underpins good quality and what de-risks manufacture that makes us a preferred supplier.